The Supreme Court upheld the newest version of President Trump's travel ban in a landmark ruling Tuesday. It bars people from Syria, Libya, Yemen, Iran, Somalia, North Korea, and Venezuela from entering the United States. President Trump quickly tweeted, "Supreme Court upholds travel ban. Wow." But as Jan Crawford reports, he had plenty more to say.
A tremendous success, a tremendous victory for the American people.
For the president, there was vindication.
The ruling shows that all of the attacks from the media and the Democrat politicians are wrong, and they turned out to be very wrong.
The 5-4 decision also divided the justices along ideological lines. Writing for the conservative majority, Chief Justice John Roberts said the travel ban was squarely within the scope of presidential authority to protect national security. It says nothing about religion, the court said, and covers just 8% of the world's Muslim population. The ban lists 5 mostly Muslim countries, as well as North Korea and Venezuela, that the administration said lacked proper screening and security measures for people trying to enter the U.S. It's been in place since last December, when the justices said it could take effect while they considered the case. It's a long way from the president's first travel ban in 2017.
This is what democracy looks like,
which covered only Muslim countries and, when it was hastily announced, caused chaos at airports around the world.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
A travel ban was a cornerstone of Trump's campaign. In a scathing dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor recited some of those campaign statements as proof the travel ban is contaminated by impermissible discriminatory animus against Islam and its followers. Democrats also slammed the ruling.
It's un-American to do what has been done.
But for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, a picture was worth 1,000 words. He tweeted an image of Justice Neil Gorsuch, who McConnell helped confirm to the court last year, and who provided the critical 5th vote for the conservative majority.
And CBS News Chief Legal Correspondent Jan Crawford joins us now from the Supreme Court. Jan, you mentioned Justice Sotomayor's criticism of the majority opinion for ignoring President Trump's original name for the travel ban. He had originally called it a Muslim ban. So how did the other justices reach their opinion on this particular point?
Well, the majority said that courts really just can't be in the business of trying to kind of second guess the meaning of people's statements or kind of looking at the meaning of things that they may say when they weren't even in the White House, as some of his statements were when he was candidate Trump. When the law has ample grounds for justification, as they said this one did. They pointed to the fact that it only covered 8% of the Muslim world, and that the countries that it actually singled out were ones that prior administrations had identified as security risks. So they said that there was ample evidence that the travel ban was not an unreasonable exercise of the president's authority. And so for them, that's where you stopped.
Now, Jan, the other big Supreme Court ruling of the day rejected a California law that required anti-abortion crisis pregnancy centers to give patients information about abortion procedures. What was the basis of this ruling?
Well, I mean, this was a really important free speech case, and there was some pretty powerful decisions, and a powerful decision, in fact, concurring by Justice Anthony Kennedy about the importance of free speech and liberty. This involved kind of these pregnancy crisis centers and a California law that required them to post notices saying that abortion services were available in the state of California. And they said, you know, that's compelled government speech. That goes against everything I believe in, and the government's forcing me to say something that is kind of at odds with everything I believe. And the Supreme Court today, and I thought was a pretty stirring upholding of First Amendment principles in this case, agreed and said that the government can't force you to post those kind of messages that are at odds with your fundamental beliefs.
So these crisis pregnancy centers then tend to have a religious bent? How is it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And free speech as well. So it raised several different First Amendment principles.
All right. So, Jan, speaking of Justice Kennedy, there is speculation that he might be the next justice to retire, giving President Trump a second nomination. What are your sources telling you?
Well, I mean, he has said privately that he is considering retirement. But the question is when. And people who are closest to him tell me tonight they don't even know what he's going to do. In fact, they're kind of boldly predicting, as they put it, that it's 50-50. But, you know, he's been on the court for 30 years. He's 81 years old. President Reagan nominated him. And he is a key swing vote. He's a conservative, but he's got that libertarian streak. So that means he sometimes sides with liberals on social issues like gay rights. And in fact, he's written all of the important gay rights decisions, including the same-sex marriage decision, finding a constitutional basis for same-sex marriage. But with Republicans in control of the Senate, if he were to retire, his successor would keep the Supreme Court solidly to the right for years to come. Obviously, it would be President Trump's second nomination to the Supreme Court and could well be his most lasting legacy.
Yes, Justice Kennedy certainly is the justice that keeps us guessing the most as to how where the chips will fall. Jan Crawford at the Supreme Court, thank you.
Thanks.